Where did you guys get Co.Etc?
I knew that was
going to be the first question. Yeah. It's an interesting name.
We were chilling in my parents' basement back in 2018 when this all started, and we were trying to think of a name.
Mm-hmm.
And like when we started out, there was 5 of us.
Oh wow.
And we've had lots of people come through, but that was kind of like the idea was like it was collaborative,
right?
Collaborative, etc. So like, etc. I'm not entirely. I can't really remember where that came from.
Yeah.
I think the etceteras were something we had talked about, and then some of us were like, nah. Or
yeah.
Like, so somehow we ended on Co.Etc.
Mm.
That's just what we've stuck with.
Yeah. When you guys started doing Home for the Weekend, what was that process like?
I immediately thought of like the first day of recording. This isn't exactly a fun story. I don't even know if I should tell it.
I think it gives us some good context.
Well, like we went up to the lake house.
Okay.
My parents have a lake house in Indiana. We like took our acoustics and shit up there one day, and we were just like we did a bunch of recording there, and that's like where the picture on the front of the album actually comes from. We took that up at the lake.
Yeah.
Then like we played a lot of the songs that are on the album like up there, just like acoustic renditions and shit. And then I guess did we record the album after or before we did that?
After that.
It was after that.
Yeah. I just remember like the 2-3 weeks leading up to that, just like we set up in the basement. We like ran different headphones to each other and like started practicing the click for one of the first times. Because other than that, like we've been playing the songs, but like getting them tight to click was something we needed to do before going into the studio. I just remember like that being like a completely new thing. We just had to like kind of engineer a setup, like got like an Amazon Basics like splitter. It was just like so soft. I'm like, okay, like, this is gonna work.
Yeah, playing to a click was tough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not for this album. We just did this one kind of like off the feel, and it like it was so much faster.
It was so fast, and honestly, I feel like it went better. I don't know. I feel like all the songs have like an energy that the last album didn't necessarily have as much of. But the types of songs between Home for the Weekend,
yeah, they're kind of different.
Yeah,
a little different vibe.
But yeah.
Which songs off of Home for the Weekend do you guys really feel were your favorites?
We were just talking about like Trying to Sleep.
Yeah, Trying to Sleep's my favorite. I love playing that one acoustic. That's probably my favorite on there.
Honestly, yeah, I like that song when I'm like playing it acoustically. Because I don't know, it's very singer-songwriter.
Oh yeah.
My favorite is probably The Weeknd or Wayside. The Weeknd just bangs. Like I just I get to do this to it, which I love. I love songs where I can headbang to. But then Wayside, I wrote when I was like 18. So like finally seeing that song like get finished in a way that was like actually all the way to fruition was really nice.
That's really cool. As a band, like who are you guys influenced by?
Justin, go first.
Yeah, someone was actually asking me this like yesterday, like what's like your sound, and I'm like, especially for like this record, I'm like if you like blended like Led Zeppelin, Muse, a little bit of the Beatles. You say like the Beatles more for like Home for the Weekend, like this next album, like that's jammier, definitely like Led Zeppelin. I steal so many fills from Dominic Howard of Muse, so that's like that big, especially that like I do that, not too much maybe. What else? Yeah, those two for sure. And maybe like the Who.
Yeah, my like play style of guitar is very much Pete Townsend, so like it kind of like bleeds into all the songs a little bit for that purpose. But for this particular album, we have one song that's like 15 minutes called Reverberations, and it's like our take on being Pink Floyd, I think.
Nice job.
And then there's a couple songs that are like more punk rock, but I feel like it generally sounds kind of like Nirvana. Like, that's kind of the vibe I get, especially the type of singing I do on it. And then there's one song called Slip Don't Slide that For me, like, it feels like it's our Sunshine of Your Love. It doesn't really sound like Sunshine of Your Love, but, like, it's, like, the riff is, like, very memorable. The riff is a hook in and of itself.
Like, it could be in Scarface or something, in that one intro.
I mean, we'll see how it turns out. It's not done yet.
Hello to my little friend.
What about you, Spencer? What do you say?
So I got like 2 songs that I sing on this new record, and I kind of draw on like Grateful Dead, like In the Pines. I don't know, kind of bands like that. I feel like I draw on for those songs.
Yeah.
Venice Please leave the room.
How long have you been playing your instrument?
Drums I've been doing for, it's going on like 16 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you grow up playing it in school and stuff?
Yeah, I started when I was like in 4th grade.
Wow.
Right before, like we started concert band in 5th grade. I was fortunate enough, like my parents got me a head start.
Yeah.
And I actually took lessons from the band director's wife, so
wow.
I instantly had like someone who was like pushing me really hard.
Yeah.
I'll never forget like the first day we started lessons, she just like sat me down, she's just like, do you want to be like very subpar percussionist, do you want to like just be getting by, she's like, or do you want to like, you know, be way ahead of people, like do you want to be like the feature and all that. And of course, like I'm just like a giddy 10-year-old, I'm like, I'm gonna be the shit. I want to be like the best drummer ever. And she like held me to that. Like I'm using a lot of the books she taught me out of back then to teach students now. I like go back and I was like, oh my gosh, she gave me like so much stuff to do every week. But it paid off big time.
That's really cool. Outside of music, even though it's pretty full time, what hobbies and interests do you have?
That's always a tricky thing because like music is definitely like the big hobby.
Yeah.
And it's like my job is my hobby, but I like playing like Switch, Mario Kart. Honestly, yeah. I play with a lot with my buddy Oddbite, who I used to live with. Yeah. We go to like Murphy's down the road to watch Monday Night Football. We're big Bearcats fans. Also Bengals when they're doing well. It's shaky. Yeah, we started a fantasy football league. That's been kind of fun. That's other than that. Yeah, it's just a lot of music because outside of drums, I also play guitar, piano, a little bit bass, and sing. So just like anytime I get, I try to lend to a instrument.
Yeah.
Trying to learn this banjo over here at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, other than that, but just like a lot of practicing instruments. I love watching like YouTube theory videos, Adam Neely, Rick Beato. We have a Rick Beato mug because Spence and I were so into him. So yeah, I think I've learned as much from YouTube as like school.
That's really
so
cool.
Yeah.
Who are some of the musicians that have inspired you?
Definitely when I was younger, like when I was 10 and just getting into drums, I was really into Buddy Rich because he was like the flashy showman, and it kind of showed me that, you know, a drummer can be a standout musician. Usually they're just like complimentary, but I was really looking to be like a musician where it's like the spotlight's on you, and I would see him on like Johnny Carson. Just, you know, he would just go on and like do a drum solo and everyone would just be like floored. I'm like, wow. And he did a lot of like stick tricks and all that, but like rudimentally, like his chops were just like out of this world. And there are still like, you know, people who struggle to kind of catch him speed wise. Yeah. Then as I kind of like matured, got a lot more into John Bonham from Zeppelin. I was always like really infatuated with his right foot and the double kicks. I love the story of like he was learning, like trying to learn parts of a jazz drummer who was using a double kick pedal, but didn't know that it was a double kick, so he learned it on a single kick pedal. So that's how he gets like his doubles, was like he was learning double kick parts on a single pedal. And currently I really like Larnell Lewis from Snarky Puppy. I think he's just like, just that band in general is just like so tight for how many people are in it. It's like at least 15 people on a song. Wow. And then his chops are out of this world. Like everyone, they all went to like UNT, and yeah, just like very seasoned conservatory jazz musicians, and it's awesome. And then Dominic Howard it continues to inspire me just every day. I love everything Muse is doing, even though like recently, I mean, it's been more electronic, but the classic Resistance album and all that, like those fills, like I'll always remember those.
Definitely. What do you think makes a great drummer?
I think communication, like whatever band you're in, like kind of knowing your place, and making sure you're not over or understepping what people, not what they expect of you, because it shouldn't be something where like you're fed the parts.
Right.
Especially as like, I always think of it as like the audience is like your boss and you're like constantly getting a performance review of it. Like the audience should not be so much like, wow, like that drummer was so great, but the rest of the band, like I didn't really care for them. It should be like the audience just like overall like sees the band as like, oh, that was awesome, like I want to come back. And you should also like, I think every musician in the band, but especially the drummer, should make everyone else shine in whatever way they can, so that an audience member is just like, wow, like everyone was so tight. Everyone kind of stood out. I think the main function of the drummer is like providing like a solid pocket so people can do that. If your time is out of whack, if you're rushing or dragging, it's so hard to like, as a guitarist or whatever kind of instrumentalist, to like play your part, because you're just like, I don't know if it's gonna rush, I don't know if it's gonna drag. But if you can just like be a firm foundation, I think that's like number one. And then fills and all that should direct the song. And you should be setting people up for like good moments. Obviously, like don't do a fill after like 3 bars, do it after 4, because otherwise it just like doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's been your favorite performance so far in your career?
I always remember, it was a crazy experience when I was in high school. We were playing at this place called the Underground up in Forest Park. I think they since closed, but it was a nonprofit venue where high schoolers could play, kind of like the 86 Club, which is now Top Cats in Clifton. That's a lot. Like I was in a band in high school. We started when we were in 8th grade, and all we could play were venues like that because bars wouldn't have us in. So we played at the Underground like to death. Like we were almost playing there every month, and we got on their roster of like bands they really liked to, when they had national acts come in, they would have these local bands come and play with them. And back when 21 Pilots wasn't really 21 Pilots, this is back in like I would say like 2012. Like they just released Regional at Best, I think. And they're like, yeah, you guys want to like open for 21 Pilots? And like, to me, I was already into them. Like I've always told people like I love the older 21 Pilots stuff. So I'm like, that's crazy. Like let's do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, compared to like what they do now, it's a semi-small venue. Like it's sold out, but it was only like 2,000, 3,000 people. But still, I just remember that show. I'm just like, man. And we went all out. We did some like crazy stuff for that show. I remember we had always. We were trying to, at the time in that band, we were doing like some circus tricks and stuff like that. So we got our lead singer Jackson. He would go on the shoulders of our guitarist while he played it as solo. And we did that for that show. Like that was the only time we're just like, because it was risky. I remember like we would practice it. Well, we wouldn't practice because we were in the basement, like the ceilings were too low. So it was always like something like hypothetically we were like we should do that. And we're like, okay, for this one we're gonna just do it. I remember he did it, and he jumped down, and he didn't break his ankle, but I think he like fractured it on the way down. And like oh yeah, that's why I don't do that.
What's some advice that somebody's given you that's stuck with you over the years, or just of recent?
I always love the quote, and I have it in my teaching office. Playing music, it's not about being better than someone else. It's always about just being better than you were the day before. I've been telling a lot of my students that recently, and like I have to remind myself of that, because I think it's very easy in this craft to like compare yourself to someone else, or just be like, that drummer's really killer. I'm never going to be that good, so I might as well quit. And it's not about that. All you have to do is like look at like your steady progress, and it's always very noticeable. I think it's pretty hard to get worse at your instrument. So if you can just look back and be like, I'm getting better, then it's it's all good. And I've as I've gotten older, I've just gotten like more realistic. Where I'm just like, there are guys who started when they were 2 years old, and their dad was a drummer. The story of Buddy Rich is actually his dad was in a show band touring, and when Buddy was 2 years old, his dad just started putting him up on stage.
Oh wow!
And he just was gigging from 2. So I'm just like, in a sense, I'm like, I'm trying to catch up to Buddy, but I'm never going to because I didn't have that upbringing. So I'm like, okay, everyone just is on a different path.
Yeah.
So as long as like, you know, I'm growing creatively and getting better, that's all that kind of matters.
Yeah, definitely. What was your music taste like growing up compared to what it's like now?
Definitely, I think I was a lot more into grunge and just rock growing up. Jazz was something that I didn't pick up until I'd say I was like 15. And that's when I started like playing in jazz band in junior high school through high school. And now I'm just like, I'm all about like fusion and jazz. Now I still listen to a good amount of rock music, but yeah, when I was younger, I think I thought like jazz was for old people, and now, oh shoot, I guess I'm the old person.
What is it about music that you feel so passionate about?
I think it's just the community is awesome. The people I've met through it. I'll never get tired of that.
Yeah.
And then just like the creative outlet. I don't think there's ever a day where I feel like I'm not doing everything I can, because you're just your own boss in music.
Yeah.
I pretty much like I love it so much I can just like work myself to exhaustion, but it's like a good exhaustion where I'm just like, okay, like that felt like a good day of like creating, writing, whatever happened that day. I'm like, now it's time to sleep, but then just get right back to it tomorrow. I know a lot of people just get burnt out on like their jobs because like they feel limited, and that I don't think that's the case at all with music.
Who's helped teach you and push you on your music journey?
Definitely, like first and foremost, my parents.
Yeah.
I was very lucky. My dad played a little bit of drums. He was in high school, and he got a used drum set when he was a kid. So we've always tried to like go back and date how old this drum set is. I think it's from around the 30s or 40s.
Wow.
Still one of my favorite kits. But he gave me that when I started out when I was 10.
Yeah.
Like I started out just like classical percussion, but he's like, here's this drum set, and just like fell in love instantly. He's always been great. Like he came to all my shows growing up. He still comes to a lot of them. So that support was awesome. And then my mom does the same thing. My parents were split up when I was growing up, so I mostly lived with my mom, but I'm learning it now. Like I have a lot of kids I teach where their parents should like their kid will want to switch to drums, and their parents are just like, no, it's gonna be too loud.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I get it. And it just made me realize like how lucky I was to. My mom like never complained about the sound, and I was down there like all the time, just like banging away. And she's like, yeah, no, I kind of like I would just come up, and she's like, that sounded good. And that now I'm realizing like how rare that is, because like most parents are just like, oh no. So definitely them, and I just have, there's a whole list of people mentor wise I could list off. I think my first instructor, Chris Stover, the one that's the wife of my band director at the time, Lonnie Stover. I think I have her to thank the most, just for pushing me very early on, like even though I was a young kid, like being like, hey, like you're gonna take this very seriously. And then every director I had after that just kind of went off of that. Danny Frank was a huge influence when I was going through junior high and high school. He was the band director, but he was also a percussionist. And he just like really took a liking to me. He saw that like I was already, doing as much as I could as a 7th grader, and he just kind of took that and gave me more and more opportunities. He's actually the one that first got me playing drum set live. In 7th grade band, he knew I was taking lessons at Buddy Rogers, and we're a concert band. Like you're used to kind of like classical percussion and all that. But he's like, let's do like Born to Be Wild. Like let's do like a pep band song so that Justin can get on the drums. That's he's cool. Like, and there's like there's just like the perfect like little solo, and they're like the just perfect for like a 13-year-old. He's like, I want him to have a solo, so that he knows what it's like to solo on drum set. in front of an audience and like, yeah, we did that, and I think I never looked back from that. I was like, that was like the coolest thing ever.
That's really cool.
And then a bunch of people after that, but definitely I think those two, the big ones.
The last question I'll ask you is, what do you like about your bandmates?
Oh, they're standing right.
No pressure.
That's the right thing.
Please leave the room. I like that, like this issue, like that we're living together. I think that makes a huge difference. I've done that with other bands before too, and sometimes it's like, sometimes it doesn't work, but I think this works really well. That like we live together and we don't use that as like in previous bands. It's like we live together, so we feel like rehearsals have to happen at certain times, or like more than that. I feel like we just kind of feel it out. Like there's not like we all want to do it too. I think we're all at the point where we want to do it, and then I feel like I've learned about playing with them as much from like sitting around watching TV shooting the shit as I do playing an instrument with them, because it's like it's a very cognitive thing of like you're communicating telepathically with people of like what's coming next. I'm like, I feel like I know more about them now than ever because we're living together. So I think that's the best thing, and they're both, killer musicians. I love that. I love especially that, like Spencer. It always blows my mind thinking back, like when you started playing 4 years ago.
It's like 2018, I think. It's like right before we started playing together.
Like 3, yeah. It just killed. And then like when you met him, Pete, like he wasn't even playing anything, and now like you're just where you're at. I just look like the trajectory for both of them is incredible. I'll take like a solid trajectory of like someone who's like putting in the time, like getting better, really loving music, over someone who started when they were 5 and it's just kind of like plateauing. Because I know a lot of people who are doing that, like especially in CCM, who are it's just like they practice so much when they're young. They're just like, okay, I got my chops. But yeah, they both have just like very, I think, high rising trajectories as musicians, and it's very exciting because like album to album, like it's just like getting so much better each time. So it's awesome.
Oh, very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you guys want to spill the beans for your new album, the name of it?
If we had a name,
we would spell it if we did.
Still in process.
We've been taking like Polaroids at the studio, and like I think the first 4 out of 5, like we all just like, like what if we just called it Co.Etc too, and then just like
there you go.
Well, and the other thing is like we've been tracking this record live as opposed to like a trick, as like we multi-tracked a couple of tracks, but mostly it's been live. Yeah. And we usually do it on the second take. It was like on accident, but we kept getting the right take the second time we tried it. So like we were
there's a 2 theme.
Yeah, I feel like the 2 is standing out in our, and it's the second album, so like it's all
very convenient.
Kind of like leading to that in some
maybe
capacity.
It'd be cool to do it like don't spell like the number like Co.Etc TOO.
Co.Etc.
You're hearing the process.
Co.Etc to
Co.2.
That would go well with I Drive 102.
How'd you guys meet?
So Spencer and I just lived next to each other in Calhoun Hall. So very just
we've known each other for a while.
Happenstance, very random. It was funny when I met him. He actually didn't play anything.
Wow.
Like this was his first band, and it's kind of been interesting to watch him progress from nothing, like not playing anything, to where he is now because he's gotten so good. And then Justin, our mutual friend Meg, introduced us to each other. I don't know, 4 years ago.
Yeah, I'd say about 4 years.
Roughly. So, and then we just started going to bars. Urban Artifact used to do this open jam night every Tuesday. Oh. And we'd always just say to each other, hey, you want to go? And then we'd just start jamming. And then when Co.Etc was coming together, it was like, hey, we want to play drums. And
heck yeah.
And here we are. And then I think I
you brought Justin to like one of the Co.Etc practices.
Yeah.
What was your songwriting process like for this new album compared to the first one?
So on this album there are 12 songs. I wrote 9 of them, and I'd say like Reverberations we all kind of sat down and did together. I mean, that was more of a group effort. I wrote the words to that one, but usually what happens is someone will have a song idea and then you just teach it to the other guys.
Right.
A lot of times I'll record demos where I'll do everything myself and show them, but then like they put their own flavor on it. I am not nearly as good of a drummer as Justin is, so like anything I do he'll like spruce it up and make it
right
crazy.
I feel like some of the parts like in the studio just have kind of come from like we just like go for a take and like 102, I drove 102, we ended up like doing something that wasn't planned
At all.
Reverberations we kind of knew going in was gonna like just be a kind of jamming thing and go for as long as we felt it needed to, and yeah, all of yesterday on like the grand piano stuff, I don't think like any of that was planned. Like I just like
Yeah.
just like
Nice.
just put me in.
Yeah, he plays the piano and like, I mean, you ended up recording piano for like 3 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
Like,
A lot of keys.
so there was a lot of stuff on there, and then he added all the synthesizer stuff on some of the songs. Well, not all the songs have it, but like on some of the songs that did have it, he added that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the cool. I think that's the coolest way to write. Is just like be in a room, try something, be like,
If you like
you
it, you
like
like
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
you can't do it again. Like that? No, you can't do it again.
Yeah, the trial and error process.
Yeah, instead of like, I think there's a bad thing to like overplay and be like, okay, this is like the set part, and like you practice it for 2 weeks or whatever before the studio, and then you get there and like you have to execute that. I think that's like very stressful versus like just going in and like just trying different things out.
Yeah.
It's like record it. No, that sounds shitty. Record another one.
Yeah.
That one's shitty too. Like record another. Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we have an awesome producer too, Clark Miller, who he has like good ear for that kind of stuff too. So
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
I find myself deferring a lot to him. Just like Clark, like, what do you think? Like,
Yeah.
Are we?
Well, it's also nice because he's like kind of impartial. Like he's just like, he's like,
yeah.
this sounds good. This doesn't. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, if you're telling us like,
It's a new
Yeah,
Blatantly,
he's a
like-
musician too who makes like killer music. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I've worked with some producers who are just like producers, and like,
Yeah.
what your opinion isn't like, as informed as like someone like Clark. So.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's got the experience back up.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, Clark is awesome.
Yeah. What do you guys like the most about the musician life?
The guitars,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying, like just like playing the music.
just the instruments.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
so pretty. There's lots. I don't know. There's lots of good aspects to it. The community. I mean, I have friends, like I'm 24 years old, I have friends who are like out of college and like they're working and they're like, I have such a hard time making friends and meeting new people. It's just like, I do not have that problem at all because I'm friends with 40 musicians and we're always going to each other's shows and supporting each other and stuff, and through them you meet new people and stuff, and like there's always a lot of people around that are, you know,
Yeah.
happy to be making music and
Yeah,
stuff.
Cincinnati has an awesome music scene.
Really is awesome.
Really good community.
I say it's definitely like the community for me too, and
Yeah.
then just like the creative outlet. Like I feel like a lot of people in their jobs, they don't have that option of like creating whatever you want. I mean, like I don't think there's been a day I've been doing this where it doesn't feel like I'm my own boss or like, you know, you just you can do whatever you want, and I think that's like very like, especially for mental health, like that's just good because otherwise
Right.
people like they go to their jobs and they're just like, I have to do this specific thing, but I'm capable of so much more. I think there's so many people who are stuck in that, and with music it's just like, okay, like if you think you're capable of more, like just go for it,
Right.
just play more.
Yeah.
play what you hear.
What was going through COVID like for you guys?
So me and Pete actually like lived together like when COVID started.
Yeah, like I lived with it with that first half with you, and then
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, that was a trip. And then we had so like two of my roommates at the old house before this one were like on co-op like in foreign lands.
Oh wow.
And so Pete subletted from one of them, and then our other buddy, Britt Witch, subletted, and we would just like chill like all day.
We would show- There was a point when Spencer and I worked together too during this. So we lived together, we worked together, and we were in a band together. And like literally, it was just like every day we did everything together. And we would always end up on the porch at the old house with all three of us, and like we'd be like, sitting there. It's like, here we are once again. We're just chilling on the porch because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, a lot of jamming.
I logged so many hours on the drums. I got better at the drums during the beginning of COVID when like you weren't, like when everything was locked down, you couldn't be out after a certain time and all that stuff. So like, you know, it was kind of a nice summer though, because it was just like your friends lived around. You'd like knock on their doors and be like, "Hey, you want to come outside and play?" Like, you know, it was like very juvenile summer, but it was kind of nice. We got a lot tighter as a band, I think, as far as like practicing. It was actually amazing seeing all the bands that like were around pre-COVID, and then seeing them play shows like once shows started happening again. Because like everyone got so much better, like Tasteful, Dead Humor, Singscape, like everyone like upped their game like a lot more. Yeah, it was awesome.
If you guys could open a show for any band, who would it be?
Alive or dead?
Any band, no matter what.
Any band. Jimi Hendrix.
I'd open for Zeppelin.
Ooh.
I think I'd either go like Beatles or Tame Impala.
How do you guys feel the internet and social media has affected like the music industry and stuff?
It's like you have to like use it now if you want to be like a musician.
It's tough because like there's bands and musicians out now that are like way better than some musicians that are from the past, and it's just like, but no one cares about them because it's such a saturated market. There's so many people. There's people like who are famous musicians just because they post more or they are cooler for whatever reason, and you know that's part of it now. Like you gotta do these things if you want to be a musician. But it's just like I would love to. I would much rather just focus on writing songs and making the music sound good and not even have social media. I only have social media now because I am a musician and I do want people to listen to it, but like. Otherwise, I hate it, honestly. Yeah. I absolutely despise it.
It would be nice if someone could do that for us instead of us doing it.
Hey, you trying to be a manager now?
So, how long have you been playing your instruments, let's say?
So, I started on guitar from a very young age. I mean... So my dad plays, so I always grew up around guitars. So I've always had one in my hands.
Yeah.
That being said, I started like playing when I was around 10, 11, but I don't think I really got any good until I was around 15. I started writing songs. Because in my life, I have had very, very little interest in learning other people's music. I'm not entirely sure why that is. Yeah. Because like my dad, he's in 3 bands to this day. So then mostly, and by most I mean all of the music they do is covers, and so it's just like I don't know. It wasn't as exciting. It wasn't an adventure, you know. With music, it can be anything you want it to be. It's kind of like drawing or whatever, and it's just like you put pen to paper. And whatever comes out is what comes out, you know? It's like, you're not gonna, like, take a ballpoint pen and make the Mona Lisa. I'm not gonna pick up a Stratocaster and make, what's an iconic song? Wish You Were Here, you know? Like, it's different. Like, I can play Wish You Were Here on that guitar, but it's not gonna sound the same. So, I've been playing for, 12, 14 years, somewhere around there. I play bass too, pretty well, and then I do play the drums, so I record music like personally myself where I'll do everything. Guitar, bass, drums, keys, and all that. So like I do it. I'm probably good enough to be in like a crappy band to play the drums, but like not really, you know. Not any good on that stuff, and it's mostly just basic rock stuff. Living with Justin has helped with that a lot actually, because sometimes he'll come over and be like, "You should try this." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess that isn't that hard, is it? Okay, now I know one more thing, you know?"
That's really cool. When did you start singing?
I've been singing since
natural.
Coming out of the womb, basically. I mean, living with my with my family is they're all musicians.
Wow.
My mom and my sister are singers, and then my dad's like a multi-instrumentalist as well. And so like every time we're like all in the car together, we'll turn on Paradise Theater by Styx, and we'll sing it in 4-part harmony. Like,
wow.
It's not even a joke. Like,
Yeah.
if you ever saw it, it's like that scene from Step Brothers when they're singing Sweet Child. Like, that was what I grew up with my whole life. So, like, you know, and my mom taught voice lessons and stuff, so, like, she would impart wisdom on me on, like, how to sing. It's, like, how do you go from, like, chest to head voice and, like, you know, your lower register versus your upper register and the break in between those two, and, like, how to, you know, sing a song a certain way so you can utilize both of those spots without hitting your break and things like that. How to breathe when you're doing a song, because like especially when you're projecting, you're getting really loud. So, and then on top of that, I grew up Catholic. That's not entirely important to me anymore, right? But we did music at Mass. So it was me, my mom, my sister, my dad, and then this dude that had toured playing jazz piano his whole life named Milt. And we did Mass for probably 4 years together. And like, you know, say what you want about church music, because some of it kind of sucks, but some of those old songs are pretty neat. Like, there's really cool songwriting structures in them and everything that like you can just draw from and like use and put them into, you know, music that normal people would listen to, you know. So that's actually, I'm really happy that I had that experience, because it taught me a lot about songwriting and like what makes a good song, because some of those songs are kind of, they're good. I mean, they're good songs.
Outside of music, even though that's incredibly full-time, what hobbies and interests do you have?
So lately, this is gonna sound silly, but like I've been very much into like fitness and working out. Like over the past like 9 months or so, I have been very on the ball with like, you know, going to the gym, you know, 4 or 5 times a week, eating the correct foods and like hitting your macros, so like your proteins versus fats and carbohydrates. That being said, I'm 24 years old and I'm a dude and I'm working out, so like I do eat whatever I want and I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I'm wary of those other things that I could be hitting. So it's like sometimes I will make choices that are just like, you know, you go to work and, you know, someone brought donuts, it's like, yeah, I'll have one, but I won't sit there and eat like 3 and that'd be my food for the day. You know what I mean? Like, whereas when I was younger, I might do something silly like that. I honestly, I'm really into like games, like card games, board games, video games. Like I say video games, so I don't play a whole lot of video games, but like every Sunday night we go to my grandma's house usually, and we'll have dinner, and then after dinner we play like cards. So like, and that was all through my childhood. Now it's kind of less frequent for me, but like, you know, I grew up playing like cards, spades, shoot the moon, euchre, poker, all types of games like that, and that was just like a big part of who I was growing up. So like, very competitive in that sense. I like to win. It's not a necessity, but what else is there? I don't know. Kind of like, honestly, I like fashion. I wish I had more money to spend on that.
Oh yeah.
But that one's a little bit less of.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not be embarrassing when I leave the house.
What strengths do you think make a great musician?
A great musician or a successful one? I guess that's the real question.
Either or, I guess, whatever.
So, what makes a great musician is practice. Like, I've had so many people come up to me and be like, "Oh my God, you should teach me how to play guitar." And the first thing I tell them is to buy one.
Right.
And I'm just like, if you buy one and you play it, like, you'll get better. That's all I can teach you. Like, go do it and you will get better. It's like, you know, I can sit down and show you a few chords, but like, unless you go home and play those few chords for a couple hours, you're not going to get any better.
Right.
You could just as well watch YouTube, you know, or, you know, whatever, your favorite video of whomever playing guitar. A successful musician, it is so much more about hustle than it is about talent. That there's a place that I go called Self Diploma downtown, and they used to have it like on their wall painted on, and it's hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. And I think that is absolutely the truth. Like when I look at Machine Gun Kelly, I don't think he's that great of a musician. I think it is just, it's the show, it's the vibe. You know, you're selling the Machine Gun Kelly package. You're not selling him being an excellent musician like you would, you know, I always use Jimi Hendrix, but like Jimi Hendrix, you go to see him play the guitar, you know, it's not like, it's the experience. The Jimi Hendrix is, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Who are some musicians that have inspired you?
Oh, obviously Jimi Hendrix, because apparently I won't stop talking about him. Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, The Who, Pink Floyd, or the big ones. I know that's just the classic rock.
Even with that though, like that's what you love.
Yeah, and then I really love Tame Impala a lot. I just think from a production standpoint, he goes above and beyond. And then there's like other groups that have like really amazing production, like Daft Punk. People are gonna laugh, but like Black Eyed Peas. I love the Black Eyed Peas, and it's just because all the sounds that you hear from their music is just so full and rich. Like they took the time to really make that, like they crafted it in such a way that's just really good. Like sometimes you'll hear an amazing song, but it sounds like it was recorded on a calculator. You know, it's just like you didn't reach the full potential, because there's great songwriting and then there's great like producing.
Right.
You know, and you know, a lot of times it comes down to like what you got, but there's a lot to be said for that. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that really sticks out in my mind. I'll just stick with those. I've named enough people.
I know you talked about Pete Townshend earlier. Would you ever do his windmill strum?
You know, I was just talking about that with them. I was just like, you know, I should probably get in the habit of doing this. Like, I got the name. Like, I should do the old windmill.
Yeah. Just don't cut your hand open.
Oh, I do that all the time. There's like a forever scar on my finger right here. I think it would be more on my thumb if I was going to do the windmill, but like, I remember after our album release show at Motor, my guitar was just covered in blood.
Oh, jeez.
It was really gross.
Yeah.
It's kind of rock and roll, though.
Definitely. What was your favorite performance you've had so far in your career?
My favorite was definitely Halloween at the Mockbee with Co.Etc, because it was just so freaking goofy, man. Like, we got to play for like 20 minutes. It was like an insanely short set, and we had a couple people playing with us that night, and we were dressed up as the Mystery Gang, and I was dressed up as Scooby-Doo, which made way for some amazing pictures from that night.
Definitely.
But like in the 20-minute set, we had General Bird there, and he was like the villain, and like at the end of the set we like unmasked him, like it was like a whole performance, and like all of our friends were there. Like I remember so many people that I'm still very close with to this day being at that show, and it was packed in general, so that was fun.
Yeah. And
I just really like the Mockbee because it's like a freaking sound tunnel. Everyone hates it for that reason. I just think it makes my guitar sound super cool, so like I'm here for it. You just turn all the way up and it's like this wailing sound. It's really cool.
What's some advice that you've been given that's stuck with you over the years, or just a recent?
You know, when you asked him that, like, there was one thing that just, like, instantly popped into my mind. And it's not even, it was, like, the opposite of advice that someone else was given that I received, like, watching a documentary. It's really funny. So, like, I was watching this, I can't remember if it was just something on YouTube, but it was, like, an interview with the Killers.
Yeah.
And I'm not, like, a huge Killers fan, but, like, he was talking, he got asked that same question.
Yeah.
And he was just like, it wasn't the advice that I got, it was the advice that I, like, the opposite of it. So someone had told the lead singer, it's just like, oh, you guys got your first big deal, you guys are like, you know, really becoming rock stars and stuff, so he's like, you gotta be a rock star, you gotta live the rock star lifestyle. And he was just like, no. It's like, that's not me. It's like, I don't want to do that, because if like I do anything that isn't me, then I won't be like making art that is, pure, I guess.
Right.
That's him. And that really stuck with me. It's just like, you don't have to be a certain way to like make music and do stuff. Like, there's so many different personalities out there and they work for different reasons. Like, you don't have to act crazy like Mac DeMarco. You can be very chill and laid back, kind of like Crumbin. Like, I don't even know if any of them know how to talk. Like, I've never heard any of them talk,
Yeah.
So it's just like, be yourself and make it as good as you can. And even if it's just for yourself, at the end of the day, that is good enough. Like, no one has to like it. You do not have to fit a certain vibe. You do not have to exploit yourself and change who you are at your core to make good art. And frankly, I think you shouldn't, is what I got from that, the dude from The Killers. I don't even know his name, so.
I love it. What was your taste in music like growing up compared to what it's like now?
It's pretty similar, I would say, honestly. I really like anything with like a driving beat, anything that you can dance to, and I always will. So like, I really like funk music. I really like any rock and roll that just has a very constant like just a normal, just regular beat on it. And then like, I really like dance music, like EDM and techno. It's not like my favorite thing to like listen to in my free time,
Right.
but my appreciation for it is huge. And like, when I'm at, like, I saw Skrillex one time, and it was one of the craziest concerts I've ever been to. I was just like, damn, this is awesome. And Justin and I actually studied abroad in Germany for a summer in 2019, and every club you went to was techno. Like, every single time. Every single time it was techno. And I just grew to like it a lot, and because it was very much my type of thing. It's like, like, I don't know what that is for me, but like, just hopping onto the rhythm of something is like the type of music I like listening to.
Yeah.
Like, there's something to be said about like, Adele and Lana Del Rey, or like, what's some other sad person music?
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish. I don't know. I like those types of music. They don't do anything for me because I'm not a lyric-driven person at all.
Oh, really?
Which is funny because like, I've written 150 songs, like lyrics and all. So like, I do lyrics for this, and like, I like writing, but like, I can even sing you some of my favorite songs, like word-wise. I could sing you the melody after listening to it one time, but I couldn't sing you the words to songs I've listened to 1,000 times. Like, it's just something that does not stick with me. It's all about the bass.
The instrumental side.
It's just, like, one of my really good songs is Something About Us by Daft Punk, and it's just like this most simple song. It's like, it's just this slow kind of burn kind of song, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just the pump of the music that really makes it good.
What is it about music that you feel so passionate for?
I just like the adventure of it all. I mean, like, you sit down with the intention to write a song, and then by the end of it you have something, and it's usually not like all that great. Like, I was talking before about Wayside. I wrote that when I was 18. It wasn't until I was 23 that it was released.
Right.
Over that time, it was just like, it didn't change too much, that one didn't. But like, it got better over time. So sometimes when you're like writing a song, it is okay to like put it on the back burner and revisit it as time changes, because sometimes there's just not the right inspiration to like do it right the first time. And I like, don't be afraid to like rewrite songs and like reorganize them. Like, I've recorded whole songs and scrapped it and re-recorded it because like, you either just screw it up the first time, or like you gotta change something for some reason, and it just changes it.
If you had to pick a song that you've written, which one's your favorite?
Wow, never been asked that. I don't know. Jeez. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's
like,
all work.
I was in a band in high school, and like between that band, this band, and then like my own music, I've released about 80 songs.
Wow.
And like even just picking from those is like kind of tough.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a bunch of good ones. There was one that I really enjoy. It's called I Don't Funk With You, and it's a funk song, believe it or not.
Really?
And I recorded it by myself originally, and then I ended up getting my band from high school to like get on it, and then my sister sang it because like the lyrics for it were just like. They were way too sassy for me to be singing it, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like I wrote it for like I don't know, like Beyonce to sing it and not me, you know. And it's just like I recorded a version of it, and it was just like, yeah, this is alright. And then like my sister sang, and I was like 17 or 18 at the time, so like I was just like, hey, Molly, like come sing on this, and she has a great voice, and I was like kind of telling her like, you know, add harmonies here, and like she knows how to harmonize and stuff really easily too because she grew up in the same family as me. And I don't know, it's just like a really awesome song. You can listen to it on Apple Music under Pete Glassmeyer. It's called I Don't Funk With You, and it's recorded terribly, but the song itself is pretty neat, I think.
Yeah.
It's a fun song. I really like the lyrics for that one.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I'm just talking about how I don't listen to lyrics. I don't know the lyrics to my own freaking songs.
It's hard to keep it all memorized.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I don't know like how rappers do it. Like some rappers like will have a song that has more words in it than our entire next album is gonna have. You know, and I'm just like, how the hell do you remember all that? Like, I can barely remember the words to a song I've sang 5 years now. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite artists that you paid a lot of attention to?
So I really enjoy like Ty Segall. He is someone that I like to keep my eye on because he just has his hand in so many projects, and it's like mostly like garage rock, so it's like very driving music, and it's really good for working out. Like most of his stuff, like the Ty Segall band and the Freedom Band and Fuzz, like all those dudes, like all of that stuff just fucks. Oh, the OCs, like I don't know, that kind of stuff is really good. And then honestly, other bands I pay attention to are mostly just people I know. Right. I don't know, it's fun. I hope all of them make it, you know. Like I hope that, you know, Tasteful and Satan Escape, they are playing Bonnaroo in a few years, and it's like we used to play poker together at our house. Like that's so nice, you know. It'll be really fun one day to like, hopefully some of our musician friends make it, you know.
And what do you like about your bandmates?
Oh man, I love my bandmates. It's not even just like, you know.
Not even like.
Yeah, well, I really do. I think Justin was kind of touching on this, but like living with them is like, I don't know. We don't just talk about being in a band all day.
Yeah.
Like it's not all we do.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. I really like working with Justin because like he knows a hell of a lot more about like music theory than me, and I like know nothing about theory, and that's kind of by design. I feel like it can hold you back if you know too much about something. It can be limiting in a way. You think that some things have to be a certain way, but it also can be limiting not knowing enough.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, when I bring them a song, it changes a lot. And, you know, when I was first starting out writing songs, like, that kind of hurts because you spend all this time, like, on a song. You think it's so good, and then you bring it to someone, they don't know anything about it, and they're, like, already wanting to change it. It's like, yeah, like, I thought about it.
Yeah,
like,
this
it's
is
really,
my thing.
and, yeah, but then by the time you're done with it, it is a lot better than where it started out.
Yeah.
And that's thanks to bringing it to other people. And, like, my kind of mantra when working in a team of any kind, not just a musical or creative one, it can be any sort of team. It can be a sports team, it can be a sales team or whatever, but it's just like the more you like work with the people that you're working with and like say yes and like add onto it, the better it's gonna get usually. Right. I mean, sometimes you have to say no to ideas, but like that's just because only one idea can win. So I mean, we just dick around. We're the boys, so it's a good time.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Where do you guys see Co.Etc in the next few years?
I mean, it depends on where we're all living.
Right.
I was gonna say probably doing the same thing, but maybe a different city. We
Yeah.
floated.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We've talked about like moving to Chicago or Nashville or somewhere relatively close, but
Bigger than Cincinnati.
a little bit bigger than Cincinnati. I don't know how serious we are about that, but I think as long as we're living in the same city, we'll probably keep playing and recording stuff.
By then we'll have like cooler jobs and like
Right.
I'm just looking forward to like just like steadily like as we've been growing. I feel like we've been getting better jobs. Like when you have like money coming in, it makes the whole music part of it less stressful. Like you can go to the studio and not be like, oh man, we have to get it done quickly because we only have so much money to spend. It's like that's in a few years. I feel like it'll be easy.
Bigger budget for sure.
Yeah, and like to the end of like the social media, it's just like it's tough for me to like look at thousands of dollars and go, yeah, I'm gonna spend this on Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Like so people stream my music, and it's just like
I'd rather do new ads.
yeah, exactly.
What did you all study and like how's that helping for the band?
I did my first degree in business, and I'm currently at CCM right now for music ed and jazz studies. I'm taking a gap year right now, but I'm gonna go back and finish in the fall. Definitely the business side of it. I don't know. Like I did like corporate marketing, so I think being in the mindset of business has helped.
Yeah.
But like most of the stuff I've learned, like social media, marketing, and all that, I kind of learned just through doing it. Like there was no classes for it at Lindner.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was like around a lot of business-minded people did help. And then CCM like has helped a ton. Like during COVID, like when we were locked down, I just got put into a really difficult classical piano class, and we were just locked at home, and like I just practiced 5-6 hours a day just to keep up with things, and that is why I was able to play piano on the album. Like I only started playing a couple years ago. And then the drum training too. I'm learning jazz drumming, and all those chops kind of carry over to rock very well.
Definitely.
So I'm excited to just see how like that degree is going to just keep helping out. And then the education part of it, that's my day job right now, is like just teaching all ages, a bunch of different instruments. It's awesome that I can just like keep the same mindset. Like I just teach during the day, practice with bands, record by night, and it's just like all kind of packaged together.
I went to CCM for electronic media. So that one, it's really funny. Like, I spent a lot of time like recording music and working in DAWs and stuff, and that program does not really teach that. It teaches like photo editing, design, video capturing and editing and stuff like that. So like, and I don't really do a whole lot of that. But what it does do for me is just like I can kind of, gauge aesthetics better, and just kind of have a general idea of like what's in as far as like aesthetically pleasing things. The other thing that it really did for me, and this is probably more important than anything I learned there, was just like the people I met, teachers and other classmates and stuff like that, because there's still some people that I'm best friends with, and then there's other people that I still hit up to do work, whether that be like for graphic or video or whatever. I'm actually in another band now with a guy that I was in eMedia with, and that's where I met him. So
Perfect.
yeah, I mean you never know who you're gonna meet. So
yeah, I went to school for social studies education, so it really didn't affect the music at all. I just started doing it because I like playing with Pete and them, and just like took an interest to like learning theory and getting better at the instrument. And, it's just kind of where it went for me.
That's cool. Do you guys have a release date for this new album? No.
we need to finish it first.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of things. We need a name, we need a cover, we need to finish recording it, we need to mix it, we need to master it. We need to see if we're going to put it on vinyl, which we might. It's getting kind of long though, so I'm not sure if that's gonna work. It might have to be a double.
It might be a 2 LP.
Yeah, we were talking
which
like
is expensive.
yeah, we were actually talking yesterday about like if we do vinyl, like since there's vinyl's severely backward right now, like the vinyl might just come out after the actual album comes out.
Right.
Digitally,
It gets here when it gets here.
So
Hit the pre-order link in the bio.
There you go. Yeah. If you guys had an artist that you could collaborate with that's around now, who would that be?
Tame Impala.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
hesitation there.
Not really.
Yeah, I like it.
I would do Muse.
Music.
That would be fun.
Those guys are probably crazy.
Yeah, I wonder what their songwriting. I mean, I know, like, I would guess, like, it's a lot of Matt Bellamy just bringing his ideas. But
I don't, I've seen like videos of them recording and like they're like sound scientists. Like they'll set up a drum set for 12 hours just to record like one thing. I'm like, and this goes back to when we have a bigger budget.
Right,
Maybe
yeah,
we'll
right.
do shit like
I
that.
would also set up a drum set for 12 hours if I had enough drums.
Yeah. How long have you been playing your instrument?
So my uncle got me like this little miniature electric guitar when I was like 9 or 10,
Oh, okay.
and I took like 2 lessons with that,
Yeah.
and I said this is way too hard. So I put that down, and then for a while, and then I started playing again after my freshman year in college. So I would have started playing around like in 2017 again. Just started teaching myself some stuff, and then I didn't start playing bass until I started playing with Pete and a couple other guys that used to be in the band. So that was I started playing bass in 2018, so I guess like three-ish years now. It's 4.
Who are some musicians and bassists that have inspired you?
It's a lot. So I guess like definitely like Paul McCartney, because I listened to the Beatles a bunch growing up.
Yeah.
John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin, James Jamerson, Flea. I don't know, those are like my favorites. They just like all have like really like melodic way of like playing bass and rhythmic, and it's just very pleasing to listen to.
Definitely. Even though music is very full time, what hobbies and interests do you have?
So I went to school for like history and education and stuff, so I'm really into like history and like old stuff like that. Like recently I've gotten like really interested in like old guitar amps and like repairing and like restoring those. So I'd like to get more into that in the new year.
Yeah.
Then I guess, I don't know, love the Bengals, the Bearcats, like watch them all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What strengths do you think make a great musician or a great bassist?
Like for a bassist, for sure, like every good bassist has like a great sense of rhythm and like can stay in the pocket with the drummer, know like when to play ahead of the beat or behind the beat or on the beat. And they just have like a really like great sense for like rhythm and just music in general.
Yeah.
Like the really good ones, I think, are the ones who like can kind of like blend like melodic bass lines and like that either like counter or like support the melody that's being played. And yeah. And those are like the dudes like James Jamerson, like Paul McCartney. I think those dudes do that like super well.
Yeah. What's been your favorite performance so far in your career?
I've really only performed like with Co.Etc but I guess like probably the Motor show we played when we released our album back in September. That one was really fun because like just felt like we were like super on it and like really tight that night, and we played like a bunch of cool songs. A lot that are going to be on this new album. So that was just really fun, like getting to play all those, and all our friends at Motor, like we love Motor, we get Motor all the time. So it was really nice being able to play there.
It's really cool. What's some advice that you've been given that's stuck with you over the years?
I guess I watched like this one interview with Victor Wooten, who's just like an insane bass player. He's so crazy. But he's always talking about and harping on when he's like teaching his students and stuff that like there like are no wrong notes and stuff. Like if you play something wrong, like you can always recover from it, or it's like, you know, they're all like good mistakes. And like the way I kind of like think of it is just like music is like an art form. Like there's no like right or wrong way to do it. It's just like whatever you're feeling then. So like I always try and like think of that whenever I'm playing, just like play whatever feels good, and just like basically just do whatever you want. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
Very cool. What was your music taste like growing up compared to what it's like now?
Growing up, like my dad is like the biggest like Beatles head. Like I know, like he's got like so much like memorabilia and stuff in our house, and so he always had the Beatles playing in the house. And like my parents were really into country music, so like I listened to a lot of that when I was growing up. And so like I also listened to a lot of rap when I was growing up, which I don't listen to as much anymore. Still a little bit here and there. And then like compared to now, like I definitely like listen to a lot more like alternative rock. I really like have been getting into bluegrass and like Americana styles of music. So yeah.
Who's helped push you along your music journey?
My parents have like been super supportive of like my music like for my whole life. Even like when I didn't want to play it, like they were still super supportive. But then I guess I didn't really like get into it until I started college. Like Pete definitely was a big like motivating factor for me. Like he's the first one I like actually started playing with like in a band setting and stuff. So he's really pushed me a lot. Same with Justin. He's pushed me like so much, and like just it's expanded like my knowledge of music and stuff. Then like my old roommate before this house, Ian, he's the lead singer for Resonator, another local Cincy band, and he kind of like gave me the idea that it was like kind of like cool to be in a band, so I was like, I think I'll try that.
Yeah, very cool. What is it about music that you feel so passionate for?
I really like the idea of just like especially like American music, that like all these like great American artists have like come before me and just like have been like carrying on this tradition of like American music, you know, whether it's like country, blues, jazz, rock, rap. So I kind of just like take pride in like being able to like learn all that type of music and like being able to carry it on to like the next generation and like just like carrying on that tradition.
Very cool. Who are some of your favorite artists that you're following around currently?
Right now, super into the Grateful Dead. I'm actually starting a Grateful Dead cover band. So if anyone wants, very nice. Let's go. Yeah, that's dope. I got the. So were you at the one?
Riverbend.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, me and Pete went to that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've like been learning like Grateful Dead songs, like in my free time.
If you had to pick a Grateful Dead song, which one's your favorite?
It's tough. The one that comes to mind right now is Cumberland Blues.
Okay.
That one's super fun to play. But yeah, like them, this one band, Mapache from California, they do like kind of similar music. It's like bluegrass, western, like California country style stuff. Really like them. Tame Impala. Yeah, I mean those are like the main like new artists I've been following.
The last question I'll ask you is, what do you like about your bandmates?
Bandmates are awesome. Like I really love how like both of them have just like pushed me to like want to become like a better musician. Like Pete has like taught me like so much about like recording like songs and demos like on my own, which has been really fun to like learn that process and stuff. And then Justin has really just like taught me a lot of stuff about like what it just like means to be like a great musician. He got me like super into jazz and just like that kind of whole realm of music. And then like just like actually like playing with them has been really cool because like they'll just like teach me like new things that like I've never like even would have thought of before, and like now that's like in our arsenal. And yeah, we just all have like a really good like chemistry together playing together, so that it makes it really fun playing with them.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. The last question I'll ask you guys is, where's your dream theater? Where do you want to play the most?
Ooh, Red Rocks.
Red Rocks?
Ooh, yeah,
that's
definitely.
a good one.
That's a good one.
I've always wanted to play at like the Lincoln Center in New York. That'd be sweet.
I think the Fillmore in San Francisco
Yeah.
would be pretty tight. Just like a small hall, you know,
Mm-hmm.
be packed. Whatever you do there would be like packed.
Yeah.
Or like the Royal Albert Hall.
I was just thinking of that actually.
I just like saying that.
I was thinking of that because I have this really cool vinyl of Starkey Puppy playing there. Like ever since I like got that, I'm like really infatuated with that.
Yeah.
PC picture of it's just like very. It fits the name.
It is Royal.
Definitely.
I don't know who Albert is, but it's Royal.
I don't know who Albert is, but he's Royal.
He was probably a king or a prince. Royal Albert. I mean,
They're like,
This is
get
sponsored
your
by
work
Sweetwater.
done. Yeah, Sweetwater.
Gotta plug the sponsors.
we are Dead Humor. Go listen to our album. We are Co.Etc. Thank you for watching our interview. We have a new album coming out that is yet to be named. In the meantime, go listen to Home for the Weekend. That is co.etc. Find us on Instagram and, you know, Venmo and things like that.
Awesome. Nice job.